Well, greetings to all the Web3 enthusiasts out there. This is Max speaking, and welcome to the new exciting episode of Synopsis Talks. Today, I'm happy to host this discussion with Kirill Khomyakov, regional head of Central Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and Africa at Binance. So, you guys must be aware actually of what Kirill is in charge of, since it's not his first time here. Please welcome. And so to begin with, Kirill, how are you today?
Very good. Thank you very much for having me again. It's a pleasure to be a guest.
Awesome. Likewise. And previous time we had this discussion. It was very insightful, especially for me as for a sociologist. There was a lot of interesting information regarding the portrait of the audience, some statistical data, and we believe that today's will be not less and even more insightful. So let's get straight to the action and beginning with the first question to warm up. So Binance remains the centralized crypto exchange #1 body by all metrics for almost like 7 years straight. How do you guys stay at the top?
Yeah, I remember last time we discussed the Bitcoin hit the 100K this year. I think that was the question. So I'm happy that we've already achieved that. So happy to discuss about the next milestone that we need to hit. But back to your question, I think that that there is a lot of factors, obviously. But if I have to select one, that would be if us and our internal culture and strategy remain user-focused. So through these 7 years, both internally and externally, our leadership and the team, we have bolstered the philosophy of being user-focused. And everything we do and every decision that we made is focused on following this specific action. And I think this is allowing us to stay ahead of the curve on both types of markets, on the steady market, on the more volatile market, bear market, or the bull market. This is something that we continuously do. So, for example, the worst year that I remember was 2022. And this is where the FTX collapsed. And there was a huge crisis, not just to the centralized exchange, but to the technology as such after the Luna and after FTX. So we have quickly revealed all our wallet addresses, introduced proof of reserve system, implemented zero knowledge information about our proof of reserves. So try to regain this user trust. So this is how our philosophy manifests itself in the real term. And we continue focus on the innovation, localization to the different markets, and bringing on board some strategic partnerships, and of course, regulatory compliance in all the countries of the world, especially in our region.
Awesome. So, of course, everyone understands that it's a complex approach, but I do like, and it's really valuable that you outline a community-focused approach as the key factor. So it's very pleasant to know that the pioneers of the industry are focused on community, and yeah, it's a great thing for many founders to keep in mind. So sounds maybe pretty evident for someone, but I do know that there are a lot of people who underestimate its importance. So it's really a pleasure to hear it from you. And of course, we are getting closer to the new year. So one milestone you mentioned is achieved, and congratulations to all of the enthusiasts on that. So it's also the time to make some recaps, to summarize some most important events that happened during this year. So could you please tell us what are the top achievements of Binance you are personally most proud of in 2024?
I would say the most I'm most proud that despite of this regulatory turbulence that we have experienced last year and the beginning of this year, especially our historical issue in the US, we continue to regaining the most user trust across the globe, and this is what actually is the main confirmation for me that we are doing the good job for the users, and that's the main recognition for us. So if you see the overall inflows of the crypto into the centralized exchange, Binance acquired around 40% more than the next top 10 exchanges together. So this means that despite the FUD and the marketing and the regulatory changes, we continue be privileged to have the users' trust. So more than $20 billion of dollars of equivalent in the user funds has been added to Binance, according to the available online data, and that our current balance of the funds that our users are trusting us is together more than our top 10 competitors together. So that's how the users from around the globe are trusting Binance. And of course, that's like the main factor. But there is a lot of the like under the water work to achieve that. So of course, there is a positive market sentiment too that's positively influencing these volumes, right? But as well as our internal focus on compliance, on the security, fueled by our regulatory wins recently this year. So we are now having 20 regulatory approvals around the globe. And also we grew our global users base to around more than 240 million people right now. So I hope that by the end of this year, we will be hitting the milestone of the quarter of the million people. So 200 million people. And yeah, so again, our users and their trust is the key reflection of our results of everything that we are doing.
Awesome, thank you. So you are keep melting my community loving heart. So yeah, that's awesome, and thanks for the interesting statistics about this massive numbers. Sounds really huge, and for more huge growth and massive questions, this one will be one of them for sure. So Binance has grown to a massive ecosystem with a centralized exchange, of course, a DEX, a public chain, a Web3 wallet, an educational platform, a social media platform, crypto charts, merchandise, you name it. What are your plans and development directions for 2025?
Yeah, so from our product and infrastructure perspective, our two key focus remain on the easiness of use of the product and its safety or security, right? So definitely the Web3 products are traditionally more complex than the Web2 products or than traditional financial banking applications, right? So we try to make it as simple as possible from one side, but also the full in terms of the product capacity and different functions. Such a diverse community of ours needs, right? They all need a different thing. So we want to do it like full, complete, and the most comprehensive, but easy from another side. So this is very complicated, right? It's easy to do complicated, but it's complicated to make it easy. So this is one thing of what we are doing. So in order to boost the overall crypto adoption, we need to build the similar simple and user-friendly products, the same as we use every day on our phone. So when using crypto will be as easy as calling the taxi or checking your Instagram, right? Or ordering the food, or making the transaction in the traditional finance. That's where we will hit the crypto adoption expectation. And the other thing is security, obviously, because many people use, for example, face recognition in their banking app. But this method can be insecure. So we are using a lot of the AI and the different other methods to be able to protect our users, not just from the scammers, but also from the very advanced AI mechanics of being scammed. So even if the AI were used to initiate the breach, it will be identified by our system. So recently, we have onboarded AWS, Amazon Web Services, to access its suite about their suite of AI-based products. So we use the things like Amazon Bedrock or Amazon Elastic to further protect our users and to get the newest and the most advanced protection mechanics, while still having this all on the back end to keep the product simple and user friendly. And we believe that this type of approach is actually what can push us next year to reach 1 billion users. So there is many factors that needs to happen, but I think that's a good number to target. And we are focusing on the education and awareness of the crypto. We expect from our partners, from regulator, like bigger regulatory clarity and the harmonization of this regulation between the different countries and continents. And while we are working on more user-friendly and the intuitive product suite. So when these factors align, I think we have a very bright future for the industry next year.
Well, hoping for the bright future as well, and thanks for such a detailed answer. You touched several topics we will cover for sure in more detail, such as security innovations implemented. And for now, since every question I ask till now, it comes about the users. So let's put it this way. So could you share what are the major trends Binance users keep track on, and also what are the industry trends Binance itself follows most closely?
So these are the things that I just tell, but let me rephrase it. So from one side is the regulatory development. Every regulator is seeing how to best regulate crypto very differently, right? It's very hardly to find two similar regulation with the similar way of how they believe is the best to regulate crypto. So that's the first challenge to us, to be compliant in all these countries and to partner with all these regulators to support our users, whether it's very, very different by market. Secondly is, of course, the market trends. So the things that's coming like, meme coins, RWA tokens, tap swap games, to be able to quickly identify the trends and give the users all the needed trends and tools to get in one platform everything they need from the blockchain or from the services and products they need. And thirdly, we already talked about this. This is a security. How to make these interactions with all these other platforms, wallets, brokers, on-chain, off-chain operations for our users safe, secure, and simple. So once again, regulatory, market trends, and the security. So these are the three main pillars we keep track of.
Awesome, thank you. And touching more closely the topic of regulation. So could you tell us in more details what are the top regulatory risks in the regions you represent, and how has the Nigeria situation developed? We heard the news that criminal charges against your local executives have been dropped.
Yeah. So first of all, about release Tigran, our team member that was there for 8 months. This is a huge relief for us. So we are deeply relieved that Tigran has finally been able to leave Nigeria after being in detention for more than 8 months. And I know Tigran personally, and I respect him very much as the person, as the human being, as the professional. And throughout this period, he has shown the immense strengths, and I really thankful for everyone who played a role to get Tigran out. So his health and his well-being is now remain the main concern for the family, and I hope he will get the right treatment and will get better very, very shortly. And ourselves, we do not support any extreme measures like this, of course. However, not just from Nigeria example, but anywhere we remain committed and we remain open for the collaboration with all the regulators unless such extreme and unnecessary things are applied. Basically, from the regulations perspective, there is three types of things that regulators can do. So they can regulate, they can prohibit, or they can enact, so do nothing, right? And the later two, the prohibition and inaction, are the most potentially harmful, because the prohibition, it tends to push industry into the gray zone, somewhere like half legal, where still these activities remain, but there is no oversight, and this creates a lot of the complexity for the economy. It creates a lot of the risks for the users when these regulations are only effective on papers but not in the real life. When they don't act at all, when the authorities choose to do nothing or like ignore cryptocurrency or the blockchain, it's equally problematic. So it increases the risk for the users and fosters these gray areas. So we haven't seen really a good example where the total ban of inaction strategy does work. So we really encourage regulators who are working on this space to apply the global best practices into regulate the space in a way that not prohibit or bans something, but rather fosters the industry, create the number of talents, encourages new businesses to come into this country from the continent or globally, so to pay more taxes, to create more talent, to create more jobs, and to boost the economy eventually. Yeah, so that's our approach.
Awesome. So on behalf of the entire Synopsis team, I also do wish all the best to your colleague Tigran, and I like to hear this real team spirit from what you said. It's another important thing for, I believe, every successful company. And talking more about the cases, so Binance had to shut down BUSD and doesn't have its own stable coins anymore. What lessons have Binance learned from the BUSD case?
Oh, you remember for a long time ago. So yeah.
We never asked this, and I think maybe it's time now.
Yeah, so BUSD was not owned by Binance. It was owned and managed by the US company called Paxos, and it was regulated by the New York regulator in US. To be honest, this was never a big business for us. We just wanted to create like more options for our users. And when we started this project, we actually wasn't like 100% sure that it will fly, because it didn't have like a strong business model behind it. But since it was shut down in US, we really changed our model a little bit. So now we encourage going to the more stable coins, more licensed stable coins, and not necessarily backed by the US dollar, but encouraging all the other potential stable coins by the different providers in the different country. And we just wanted to support as much quality products as possible to give our users a selection rather than focusing on one stable coin owned by Binance. So that's like a couple of learnings.
Awesome. Thanks for not avoiding this topic. And sounds more than reasonable. So guys, please put notes for everyone who has a long memory such as we do. Okay, let's put finally all this regulatory things aside and speak about the more pleasant things, I believe. So have you noticed an increase in institutional interest in cryptocurrency in 2024? And what Binance services are the most popular among institutional users?
So you see, it's interesting. So since kind of a starting of the bull market that's happening this year, the more than around 1 million bitcoins was sold. So like 890K bitcoins was sold primarily by the miners, but also for other historical owners of the Bitcoin to fix the profit, right? So who bought these almost 1 million bitcoins?
Not me.
So there was definitely a lot of a big portion was for ETFs, around 200,000, and around 100,000 something was bought by MicroStrategy. But this is still like around 35% of the total. So who else bought it? This was us, individual investors who believe in the Bitcoin. So in my opinion, despite the regulatory changes or the new ways within the institutional customers, the majority of the users from the volumes perspective at this point of style still remain the people, right? The individual investors like us. And eventually we see more and more interest from the institutional, but it will take a while for even combined institutional in ETFs have a higher volumes than individual investors. So that's my analysis of the market, more or less.
A very interesting view, I would say. So in the beginning of your answer, I said that it was not me who bought these Bitcoins, but now I believe I can say that I played my role in this.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's awesome. Feeling myself a whale now. Okay, moving on to the next question, which is actually moving us to the end of this exciting discussion. So could you tell us, has virality become one of the Binance listing criteria? The peanut listing was one of the fastest we've ever seen.
Virality, what do you mean?
I mean, for example, if there is a very huge media background behind some project, be it a meme coin or something extraordinary new, so can it be some new kind of the criteria to make the listing faster, just to jump into a hype train, or it only seems like this?
So yes and no. So no, because we still continue to have a super strict due diligence process. So remember, we have a separate team that's called Binance Research, who is working with the projects directly, and all the majority, 99% of the Binance employees and even executive leaders are not involved in this process. So we find out about the listing similar time with you guys, right? So that's all done to protect the information and to prevent any any insider trading or any other manipulations. So it's a very, very strict internal process, and it's very strict due diligence process related to the project. So some of the criteria that it has when the due diligence is happening is we analyze the project quality, so tokenomics, and the project team, technology they use, and how technology is going to develop, and then how it fits to the market, use cases, and of course their security and compliance. So it's quite a lengthy process, and in the end of this process, the listing happens on Binance. It can happen on the main exchange, it can happen on the launch pool, mega drop, etc. However, this is why it's not the case, right? This cannot be speed up. We never skip this process. However, from the trending tokens perspective that you said, we see that there is more and more interest from our users to the meme tokens, meme coins. And while we are not listing everything, we understand that for our users, time to market is important. So for some tokens, there is a faster process that has like a less criteria, but still has a due diligence process. So the minimum there will be the quality of the team, the tokenomics of the project, and the strong community. So potentially, if these factors apply and there is an interest from the market to buy this coin faster, this can be some improvements in terms of the timelines. But due diligence remain our main focus, because our main priority is to protect our users rather than give them some manipulative things to get rich quickly. That's our strategy.
Awesome. So despite all the hype and all the background, so every project has still to be examined very strictly. And hey, it's nice to know, because there are some tier 1, I would say, tier 2 centralized exchanges whose users are just drowning in these numbers of endless meme coins. And on the one side, of course, it may seem like good access to all what you think is needed for you, but on the other side, what's the difference between decentralized exchange and that's what makes me ask questions. So I like that there is this kind of procedure for every token, and there are not so actually many of this funny stuff at Binance. Okay, so thank you. And we discussed like literally the full scope of the things we might miss since our previous interview. So it was plans and announcements, recap of 2024 security improvements, listing criteria. So one thing is missing, and of course it's like our traditional thing and advice for our viewers. So today is kind of a special occasion. So the benchmark has reached its historical price of 100K and even above, and also the new year is getting closer. So combining all these factors, what would you give as a piece of advice for our audience today?
Yeah, so I think we are in the middle of the bull market, really. And these things that's happening in US is just setting up the trend for the further use cases for the Bitcoin and eventually all other coins too. So I think that the next year will be very good. However, remember that our market is still very small compared to traditional finance, compared to the Forex or gold or bonds. Very, very small young markets. So it continues to be very volatile and very dynamic. So the future is very bright. However, the road there will be very bumpy. So there is going to be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of dips, and a lot of the green candles. So please remember to be careful and only trade with caution, and to use the leverages very carefully, because basically the low liquidity markets like ours is very easy to be volatile, because any regulatory updates, any investigations, any good or bad news from the market, any rumors, even someone's hacked Twitter account can significantly influence the price. So be careful, be positive, and believe in crypto. And I hope that you will not regret it by the end of the next year.
Awesome. Thank you. Actually, super encouraging and positive thing. Exactly what everyone wants to hear before the New Year's Eve. So thanks, Kirill, for joining us today. Thanks for our audience for watching till the end. Stay tuned, take care, and build the bright future together with Binance. So yeah, thanks once again for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Max. Happy New Year and happy Christmas. And I hope we meet again next year.
Thanks a lot. Hope so too. Have a great end of the year. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.